So I talked to this lady on the phone, and she was like, someone's going to call you back, So dude called me back, talked to him for an hour, and he's like, we can do pre-assessments, great. Let's get you down here. We can meet you. I was like, well, I feel like I can drive. Like, where are you at? He's like, we're in Palm Springs. And I was like,
yeah.
How am I going to get down there? He's like, well, we can meet you 4 hours away and this and that. And then, so I called my dad back, and he's like, I got frequent flyer miles. Your ticket can be $5 to get down there.
Yeah.
I was like, looks like I'm going to Palm Springs.
Yeah. Welcome to Into Action, brought to you by Touchstone Recovery Center. This month, I'm meeting with a friend of mine named Derek. Derek L. has worked here over 2 years now, right? He's worked at Touchstone for about 2 years. Derek manages a sober living here in Fresno that we work really closely with. And I have a good story about Derek. So when Derek showed up, he went to a treatment center that we work with from time to time called Banyan Treatment Center down in the desert. Mm-hmm. And he was there first time in treatment, went to Banyan, came to Fresno for aftercare, I don't think you'd ever been here before to Fresno. He came to Fresno and moved into the sober living that we had just opened. This is like over 2.5 years ago, or about 2.5 years ago. And like right away, we knew we liked Derek. He's got a really big heart. And after he got done with aftercare, he's like, I want to stick around. I like it here. And that was over 2 years ago. So how you doing, Derek? What's up?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to be here.
Good. Glad you're here. So as you know, usually like we'll talk about people's upbringing, how they struggled with alcohol or drugs or both, and then what keeps them sober today. Usually it's a pretty rough ride to get to like where me and you are right now. Mm-hmm. So tell me about like your childhood. Did you experience addiction or alcoholism a lot when you were growing up?
Yeah. No, I mean, we had a normal childhood. My parents were loving and caring. Yeah. I was the middle child, 3 years. Yeah. 3 years younger than my brother, 3 years older than my sister. So nice, loving childhood. And didn't really dabble with drugs. I mean, started smoking cigarettes at a young age, but parents never really struggled with addiction. My brother started smoking pot in high school, so older brother smoked pot with him, and I guess that kind of started the addiction, and then it kind of just escalated from there. Really didn't start getting bad till like my early 20s.
When did you start drinking? Like in high school?
Yeah, just like normal partying, like nothing too crazy back then. The drinking didn't start until like I was like 26, 27.
Okay.
Something like that. But yeah, just normal partying kind of thing, with your friends, doing drugs here and there. Never really thought I had a problem.
So when you say like drinking, do you mean like isolating that was your goal for the day was to drink?
Yeah.
So when you were in your early 20s, you would just continued like you'd go to the bars every now and again, have a few drinks, but you wouldn't drink 2 days in a row. You wouldn't continue.
No, never. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you like pinpoint anything that happened like in your mid 20s that maybe led you to start drinking heavy?
Like the big thing for me was I always had like kind of a drug problem, but never admitted it. Just kind of doing drugs here and there, and then I got into opiates pretty heavy, just normal pills. And in 2014, I had brain surgery, and that's what really rocketed my addiction. They just pump you full of opiates, and then after that, kind of just can't get them anymore. Doctors don't prescribe them to you, and so I was like, I should just start drinking. It's free. Everybody does it. Yeah. So that's what really rocketed my addiction.
Got it. So in the height of it, you were in your late 20s, and how much were you drinking a day?
A fifth, usually, yeah.
What would you drink?
Whiskey drinker.
Like, what is that? They like Tennessee whiskey? What do you mean?
Oh, just cheap Canadian dirty whiskey.
Oh, yeah. That's gross.
Yeah.
Okay. So you drink a fifth? Were you just hanging out by yourself, or
Pretty much, yeah. Just
did you have a place like an apartment?
yeah, just an apartment. I'd say when my addiction got really bad was me and my girlfriend at the time. Like she got pregnant, and she was like, she knew I had a problem. I didn't want to admit it, and she was like, before the kids are born, you better just get your drinking out of the way, like while I'm pregnant. So I was like, cool, I'm just gonna power drink. The girls will be born, and I'll be sober. But obviously, it escalated my drinking to become even a worse alcoholic.
Yeah.
And then by that time, I was just too far gone.
Yeah, yeah. It's not something you can just turn off. Yeah, that's tough. So when you were drinking, usually a lot of us have pretty severe consequences that come with it. Whether it's DUIs, jail time, losing our jobs. What were some of the consequences that you had to deal with?
Losing jobs, yeah. I kind of essentially quit my first job because I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'd rather just sit at home and drink. Like, I think I can do better. And then losing the family was the biggest one,
Yeah.
But one of the things I struggle with the most is losing the family, I would say. Just because, I had kids and my parents got to be grandparents, great-grandparents and all this. And then because of my addiction, that's what essentially ruined the whole family.
Yeah.
And, that's one of the things that I really strive to fix these days.
Yeah.
Is bringing the whole family back together just from my biggest mess up,
Sure.
And yeah, I put off a lot of jobs. I was window cleaning at the time, so I made it a lot harder for my coworkers, working with me, trying to work hungover every day. Lost a lot of friendships, hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I think losing jobs is one thing. We all do that, whether or not we're drinking every day. But like the family consequences that come along with alcoholism and addiction, that's hard to live with.
Yeah.
And I know I have them. Most people that have sat where you're sitting, and they'll say the same thing. They lost relationships with their parents, their kids, their spouse. Yeah, those are hard to live with. It's luckily, like, when we put enough time together and we're able to like face those things, we can address them and clean up our side of the street as much as we can, and then let the chips fall where they may. So have you started that process?
Yeah, really well, actually. I've made, I don't want to say make amends, but working on making amends with family members. But they've all been extremely supportive with everything I've been doing. So they've made it a lot easier for me to, reach out and apologize and say I'm sorry, or, just actually call and say hi instead of like, oh, hey, I need help. Like it makes it a lot easier for me, and it's real heartwarming. I guess. Like, it's to know that they're not just like shunning me anymore.
Yeah. Well, it gets hard for them, I guess, for like my family, when I'd call over and over and be like, hey, I need money, or I'm in jail, I need help, or, I wrecked my car again. Or it was always some tragedy that like I need someone to bail me out of this, because it wasn't my fault though.
Yeah, exactly.
So like every time I would call people, they would hesitate to answer it after a while. So I know what you mean. Nowadays we can make phone calls and just have a conversation.
It's nice to just call grandma and talk for 20 minutes instead of like, oh, hey, I need help with this and that, and like.
Yeah.
You always feel guilty of like, oh, I don't want to call and ask for help again. Like, and so it's real nice to feel supported,
Sure.
and not just feel like I'm doing this all on my own anymore.
Tell me about when you decided to get some help. How did that come about? So how did you hear about treatment? Was it like an intervention? Did your family get you? Just tell me.
Somewhat of an intervention. I detoxed in the hospital, and like one of the caseworkers there was like, you've been here a few times.
Which hospital?
But the Sierra Nevada Memorial up in Grass Valley.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So spent 5 days there. One of the case workers was like, you should probably get some help. Here's some places, this and that. And then my dad was like, you might have a problem.
Did you go into the hospital like with alcohol poisoning? Did you go because you had ran out of alcohol and you got sick?
A little bit of both,
Okay.
I guess, like just detoxing super hard in my room and like just puking. And like, I remember puking all night and then like woke up in the morning and it was like really off colored. And I'm like, that's probably not good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I should probably go to the hospital. And then, and then my parents, my dad and stepmom kind of talked me into it. And then I remember laying in bed one morning and it was like 3 a.m. and I was just, coming down super hard, withdrawing really bad. And I called my mom and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, I need to do something,
Yeah.
And come to find out, I called the place, thought it was up in Grass Valley, like a local place, because my dad was like, just go somewhere here, try it out.
So you Googled like rehab near me.
Yeah.
And
So
someplace in Palm Springs popped up.
So I talked to this lady on the phone and she was like, someone's going to call you back, So dude called me back, talked to him for an hour and he's like, we can do pre-assessments. Great. Let's get you down here. We can meet you. I was like, well, I feel like I can drive. Like, where are you at? He's like, we're in Palm Springs. And I was like,
Yeah.
how am I going to get down there? He's like, well, we can meet you 4 hours away and this and that. And then, so I called my dad back and he's like, I got frequent flyer miles. Your ticket can be $5 to get down there.
Yeah.
And I was like, looks like I'm going to Palm Springs.
Yeah. It's a good choice. A lot of times it's helpful to get out of our environment, and just like hit the reset button.
It was the best decision I think I've ever made.
So what was treatment like down there?
It was great.
Yeah?
I had a great experience.
How many people were at the facility you went to?
When I was there, I think it maxed out at like 25, 26. Like,
Okay.
it was a pretty big place. And
Yeah.
then when I did PHP, I think it housed 18. So it was nice.
Okay.
It was just a nice change of pace, not having to worry about anything.
Sure.
You
So
know?
you did the residential about a month, and am I right? And then you went to the PHP, which is a sober living, kind of like we have.
Yeah.
Sober living, and you went to group every day for about another month.
Yeah, I was down there for a total of 50 days.
Okay.
And then I came up here.
I remember the day you got here.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, so you did your intensive outpatient with us at Touchstone when we were just down the street, and you lived at the colony, the first colony.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the first sober living Lewis and I opened.
Yeah.
Which, it's crazy. We have 5 now.
It's big.
6.
Yeah.
6. Yeah. I mean, I remember you did really well in intensive outpatient. You showed up every day. You never relapsed that I know of. So from the day you went to treatment, what was your sobriety date?
11/23/21.
11/23/21 to now. You've worked a program.
Yeah.
It's not always perfect. I know I'm not perfect in my program, but yeah, man, that's something to be proud of, because you see here working, most people don't do it their first try.
Yeah.
Most people don't.
I was for Thanksgiving, I was up north, and my cousin was like, how does it feel? I was like, it's weird, man. Like 2 years and I haven't gotten anything, like no fucking kratom, no alcohol, no nothing. Like, it's just like weird.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's weird compared to the way you used to live.
Yeah.
But, I think I don't know. I guess it makes me sad that, like, a lot of times people, they'll get sober off of one drug, and then, while they're in their sobriety and things are going well, they forget how bad it was just 2 years ago. They forget how bad it was, and then they'll start using things like kratom or whippets or whatever you can. Yeah, because those are the ones that are like most deceitful, in my opinion, because you can't really test for a whippet. You can, but it's really expensive. So it's like I don't know. It's like admitting that it's wrong, because you're using stuff thinking you're not going to get caught. Now, if you're going to live your life like that, if you're going to live your life where, you're going to hide things, well, why are you hiding them? You're hiding them because it's wrong. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make much sense to me. I think You know, if you're going to do something, you should be able to stand by it and say, I use kratom.
Yeah.
I drink alcohol. I use cocaine. Deal with it. I don't think we've had anyone come through like that, you know, where they'll say, you know, this is just what I want to do. We do get that from time to time with marijuana. Like people they're hell-bent on, I'm not going to stop using marijuana. But with the other substances, you just don't get that much. So I think I talked about this one of the podcasts I think it was with Sandra, but you know, at least if a person is hiding it and like they're lying about it, that kind of just tells me that they know it's wrong. That's a good first step, you know. At least they know it's wrong. Now, when are they going to do something about it is another question. But
like you said, you know, they don't remember how bad it is, and that's like one of the biggest eye-opening things for me at the sober living. You know, like sometimes we get those guys that don't go to inpatient, so they come in just beaten and, you know, rough time, and it's like it's a constant reminder of like that was me, or that could be me, you know, and like that's one of the biggest things that keeps me motivated is seeing all those guys that, you know, do make the 180s, that come back or turn their life around and move forward. It's real freeing.
For sure. Yeah, watching people struggle and then get through it it's really satisfying, like to see people get through it. But it also keeps me sober because like seeing people struggle, I know what that feels like, and I'll be damned if I'm going to go back to that. You know.
Yeah.
So, as the manager of a sober living, like I know that it comes with a lot of headaches. It comes with a lot of, there's a lot of shenanigans that go on. How do you like doing that?
I love it. To be honest, dude.
What do you like about it?
The camaraderie, the different walks of life, you know, and just the people you meet, you know, and the people you get to live with. It's just like I never, before addiction, it's like I never even want to talk to this person, you know. Now we're hanging out all the time, going to do stuff. Like it's just it's like I don't want to say liberating, but like freeing, you know. Like I used to be real socially awkward and like real not outgoing or anything. So like helping people and like getting to relate to them and be like, yo, I used to be like this person. Like, and now like helping them achieve their goals and helping them do all that stuff. Like it's almost not like a job, you know, like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know,
I could see that.
It does have its headaches, but for the most part, it's not too bad. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot to be said for the camaraderie part. Like when a person is willing to go to a sober living or needs to, in some cases, like they got very few options and the other options are worse. They're like, you know what, I'll go to the sober living. Let's do it. The outcomes are so much better. Like statistically, you see well over. I mean, I'm gonna guess here, but I would guess like 2/3 of the people that move into the sober living and come to treatment graduate the program. Probably well over 2/3. They graduate the program. They get like a significant chunk of sobriety, and then what sucks is like when we see them move out. That's when we see a lot of relapses happen. It's like they didn't prepare for the next step, or and I hate seeing that, but I do love seeing when, you know, they're in the sober living, they're coming to treatment, they move out and they got it, and they keep coming to aftercare. We see that a lot. It's pretty neat compared to the amount of people that successfully complete the program and stay sober that don't go to sober living. Like the ones that go to sober living, it's significantly higher, at least double the success rate.
I think it definitely helps them build, like you're saying, like
it's a community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the right word I was looking for. It helps them build the fellowship that they need and they're looking for, you know, because a lot of people like myself just don't want to. They want to isolate. That's what we like to do.
Yeah.
So like being almost forced to have a roommate, you know, and like forced to get back into the normal things of life, like it helps a lot.
For sure. So nowadays, do you you go to meetings?
Not as much as I should, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a sponsor?
I do.
Okay. Do you work with him?
Yeah.
How often do you guys go? Do you go through the steps?
I'm on step 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you like going through the steps?
It wasn't as bad as I thought. Everybody said they were, the dreaded step 4, but my sponsor made it real easy, and I kind of just slowly went about it and got through it. They've helped a lot. I don't want to talk bad on them, but I wouldn't like push it on anybody, but I think they've helped me personally a lot.
Sure.
And just like having a sponsor just to keep you in check, I think I got away easy because he's a real nice guy and he's real easygoing, so he doesn't like hound me too much. Mm-hmm. But it's going real well, and they've been. I'm not on. I think the worst one's going to be the amends, so I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, that's a tough one. 9's a tough one. I know. I mean, hell, it's been years, and I still make amends. There was some like right when I got sober and right when I had the opportunity, I made them because I was like excited to do it.
Right.
There's a few examples I can give you, but there's some that I like could not wait. I needed to do it, and then there's other ones that I still have, I'm like, man, I don't know if I. Ooh. Right. There's one I'm thinking of now that I won't bring it up, but there's this person I need to call. I need to, and I know it. It's like on my heart, and I know I'm gonna do it. But every day I'm like, no, not today. Don't do it today. Mm-hmm. Don't call him. Don't call him. So anyway, I guess my point is making those amends, man. You have the rest of your life if you do it right. You have the rest of your life. Do it when it's right, and like do it when you're ready.
Right.
We're not supposed to do any that'll be harmful to ourselves, others. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Just wait.
It's true, yeah.
Some of them are tough, too. Like, when it's, yeah. But I've always found whether or not the person, like, accepts your amends, your apology, and whether or not they listen to what you have to say and, like, say, hey, it's okay. I forgive you, and let's move forward.
Right.
Some of them are just going to say, F off. That's okay, man. You did your part.
Yeah.
And if as long as you mean it and you like try to correct your behavior and promise not to do it again and acknowledge what you did wrong, there's not much else you can do.
It's very true. Yeah.
You have a lot to make?
Not really. No? I don't think so. I was never really I didn't get in a lot of trouble as a kid, so there's a few, but not like super, super bad, I guess,
Yeah. Well, it's because you isolated.
Yeah, it's very true.
A lot of us would do that, right? We just hurt ourselves over and over and over.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one is, all like the self-sabotage I did.
Sure.
Never really harmed anybody or anything like that, just myself,
So I know recently you went to a concert with family, right? Mm-hmm. When you go to stuff like that, is it tempting to drink now?
That's the first concert I've been to sober, and I was kind of nervous to go to, but it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like at first, it was kind of crappy.
Yeah,
but it wasn't bad. My dad was there with me to support me, and he didn't drink either. And he even said, he's like, that was my first sober concert. And he's like 54 or something. And he's like, it was actually kind of nice. And I'm like, it was actually kind of nice. I'm not all blown out halfway through the show. But yeah, it was tempting. We were standing there waiting for it to start. And I was like, man, we usually pretty trashed by now. But it's gotten a lot easier over the years.
Sure.
If I would have done that last year, probably wouldn't have gone as well as it did, but it's gotten a lot easier for sure. Of course I still have triggers and thoughts of using and stuff, but the physical cravings of it are long gone. It's like I said earlier, it's been 2 years. I don't even remember what it tastes like, I don't even remember what it smells like. It's been an adventure.
Yeah. I know I had reservations especially in the beginning, like the first couple of years where, I could probably drink again, or if the opportunity presents itself, if I'm in the right place, if I'm like out of town and by myself, and, I had all these like reservations, but slowly like relapses would happen, and I would get in myself in big ass trouble, and I'd end up worse off than where I was. So like eventually I like taught myself, you can't have reservations. Like I just can't have a beer. I can't.
Exactly.
It's not possible for me to do that, or at least it hasn't been to date. And I don't really feel like testing.
Right. Yeah. I've thought about that too. Like, like, do I really have to go all the rest of my life without drinking? Like, that was one of the hardest things I struggled with at first. Like, I'm only 29. Like, how do I have to go another 30, 40 years without drinking? And it's like, you just don't got to drink for today.
Yeah,
like I can get as messed up as I want tomorrow, just not today. But I don't really think about that anymore. Like, I enjoy myself so much more as a sober person. Like, it's everything. I have no complaints about being sober, and like, it's just great. Like,
yeah. there's not many people that do it that regret it. No, I don't think there's any that I know that like regret going to treatment and regret, going to outpatient and going to a sober living. And the ones that stay sober don't regret it. The ones that relapse, a lot of times, you'll hear them say they regret it. But anyone who has like significant amount of time, year, 2+, they don't regret stopping. They don't, because we get things back. We learn how to live without it, and we figure out pretty quickly that it's a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. And like you said, like, I've tried the controlled drinking, like, oh, I'm just going to drink on Fridays, or I'm just going to drink on Saturday. And then it's like, well, that Friday turned into a Tuesday afternoon. And, I've tried that. So for a while, I was like conflicted with myself. Like, you're a normie. Like, you're not like these people at the sober living. You're not like the clients and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you are. Like, you've tried controlled drinking. You've tried many different things. Like, it obviously doesn't work, dude. Like, you're here for a reason,
How long were you in detox when you went to treatment?
9 days.
9 days?
9 days.
Yeah, you were pretty bad.
Yeah.
And you had just gone to the hospital.
Yeah, I was in the hospital for like a day and a half.
Okay.
And then went to Palm Springs.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely needed it.
Oh, yeah.
So what I've taken so far from this is you're going to go to more meetings.
Yes.
Just kidding. No, you said that you go to meetings, you have a sponsor. What else do you do to stay sober? Like, what are your like habits?
Healthy
habits.
Got into reading, like reading a lot of books.
Cool.
Like, it's always something I've kind of enjoyed doing, but not like, when you're hammered, you can't do that.
No.
So I've been trying to read a lot more and journaling, like, just to, especially after working the steps, like, it's helped a lot. The biggest thing for me is just being of service, like, especially at the house, like, just giving back any way I can. Like,
sure.
Just trying to help other people. Like, I play golf now. I guess that's a healthy habit.
I noticed.
But yeah, just trying to help any way I can. Like, just because it's refreshing to like help the guys that have nothing to come back. Like,
sure,
to watch their mental health recuperate and stuff like that. But yeah, I just try to stay service-minded all the time and not look at the house as like a job or as like working at Touchstone as a job. Like, it's really just helping other people out, and that's what really keeps me motivated.
Sure, I agree with that. Does it help you stay sober working at a treatment center?
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I used to be a window cleaner, and I like cleaning windows. It's a lot of fun, but I wouldn't trade anything for the job I have now. Like, cool. It's so, like, yeah, it's stressful, I guess, but that's like any job, and it's refreshing every day. Every day's a mystery. You don't know what's going to happen,
That's for sure.
And it's just, it's a different kind of stress, but it's a lot more fun, Like, I got no complaints about it.
Well, we definitely appreciate you. So Derek has been since his hire our first full-time driver, and then now there's a few of you. We have there's 3, and then so you're the prototype.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming this month, man. I love having you on. Congrats on 2+ years.
Thank you very much.
We love you, Derek. Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy.